All right, man, peace. You know, brother, sometimes in life you have various types of relationships, whether it be with your friends, your family, your significant other, or what have you. And there's a breakup that might occur where if you see one another, there might be a confrontation or an altercation, or there might be some bitterness. And sometimes you might see one another and you just wave, smile, and keep it moving. And you could keep it cordial because you realize that you're both in different places in your life. You were never really compatible, quote unquote. And it's best that you guys go your separate ways. And that seems to be the case with Mr. James Harden and Chris Paul. At least that's how they're trying to project it on television or on the internet, that they're good with their fracture, with their quote unquote breakup, and that they're ready to move forward. It's very clear to me that they've had issues with one another for a very long time. And as I've stated previously on this channel, I never thought that their pairing was going to work. So it shocked me how successful they were in their first season together. But Chris Paul seems to have issues. And then you combine that with James Harden's self-aggrandizement and self-worship. So they were never going to work because from most testimonies that I hear pertaining to Chris Paul, he's a terrible leader in the locker room. And eventually he just alienates everyone. And with James Harden, he's been coddled and spoiled so much by Mike D'Antoni and Daryl Morey that you have to accept that everything's going to go through him. He's almost like a 6'5" left-handed version of Allen Iverson. And if you're not willing to accept that, like, there's a reason why Allen Iverson never played with another star on his team to any level of success. He had that one season in Denver, and you saw what happened. They actually moved him and replaced him with Chauncey Billups, a player who was nowhere near as prolific scoring-wise, but who was a much better all-around player, especially pertaining to his basketball IQ. And that was literally the most success that the Denver Nuggets had experienced all throughout the 90s and 2000s, was that one season when Chauncey Billups was there in 2009. But just getting back to the point, it's very obvious that CP3 and James Harden, they had what they called a quote-unquote amicable split, at least publicly. You never know what went on behind the scenes, because I do think that Chris Paul was fighting hard to stay in Houston, especially at his age. But he accepted, look, this is James Harden's team, this is his territory. CP3 has really not been the big dog on campus since he left New Orleans, because even with the Clippers, they preferred Blake Griffin over him. So they recently caught up with James Harden and asked him how he feels about CP3 and how CP3 feels about him. So let's see what he has to say. Of course, they're going to talk about it, and I'm going to chime in.
James Harden and Chris Paul, no longer teammates, but according to James Harden, they have no beef. Here's what he said about CP3.
Of course they have no beef, because James Harden won. Why would he be upset or bitter? It's almost like the husband who takes his wife to court. They're divorcing. He knows that he has a great prenup, great lawyer. He knows he's going to win. So it's easy for him to take the quote-unquote high road.
By reporters over the weekend, quote, go.
There's a lot of false talk. Obviously, as teammates, as competitors, we argue on the court. We disagree on the court, your arguments on the court, that's just part of basketball. Everybody has that, no matter what level of basketball you're in. So all the negative media stuff and all that stuff that was going on running, it wasn't true. Me and Chris had constant communication, and we were good.
You guys are good, but you basically forced Daryl Morey to trade him. You dudes were not that good, bro. But it's okay, I get it.
Is James Harden saying that he and CP3 are good? BS or real talk?
I'm going to go real talk.
Wow.
Oh.
It depends on the person. If it's James Harden, then yes, he's good and he's keeping it 100. But if it's CP3 is watching it like, this is some bullshit.
I'm going to go real talk because I think that at a certain point you become adults, right? And you realize we tried it for 2 years, it didn't work. It doesn't mean that guys don't fight in the locker room or in public. We do.
Well, there are levels to fighting. There's levels to the type of contention between teammates in the locker room. And sometimes personal things can be said that change a relationship, and the parties involved are never able to retrieve that initial positive energy or that initial positive rapport.
That all the time. He's 100% right about that stuff.
Why is Chris Paul playing for the Oklahoma City Thunder?
Because it doesn't work.
And why they it didn't work?
Right, but there's
the only team that
we're
pushed
good.
the Golden State Warriors anywhere in the KD era.
Right, but again, the quote is we're good. Like him and Chris are good personally. Yeah, I think that they're like, all right, see you later, we're good.
But they're not good. Because if they were good, you run it back. You don't send out 2 first-round draft picks along with Chris Paul to take on Russell.
No, I understand that part of it, but what I'm saying is they're good personally. Whether they
Well, that's difficult to say because you're not either one of them. I think that James Harden is good with the understanding that he has the power in the relationship. He has the power in the organization, so therefore he has the power in the relationship. CP3 is good from the perspective that, okay, this dude forced me out, but I'm still getting $40+ million a year from somebody.
What you're saying is on the court. On the court, I don't think they're good. Because I don't think those games mesh. I don't think those personalities mesh, but I do think they are smart enough to realize it didn't work and they're ready to cut ties.
It meshed to a point of pushing the Golden State Warriors to a Game 7.
I mean, Andre Iguodala was also hurt. So
I've been saying that for 2 years. This notion that the Rockets, they just pushed the Golden State Warriors so hard. They were missing, when I say they, I'm talking about the Golden State Warriors, their best perimeter defender. And that's when the series started to shift.
I'm going to go into the Steve Kerr camp and say that, series might have been over sooner.
By the way, I love how we're...
And I would not poo-poo the absence of Andre Iguodala because he definitely has their highest defensive IQ. Or at least he used to. He's no longer on the squad.
Getting a series from 2 years ago, but we also have the extra of what happened this year.
Agreed. This series from 2019 is what should be used as any form of empirical data to evaluate exactly what their chances are from here on out of winning championships. Why go back to 2018 when you should be going back to 2019?
Game 6 this year.
Yeah, absolutely. No, 100%. I mean, look, I think it could have not worked to the point of Chris being out the door and that they're good now, maybe. I don't know.
Right.
I mean,
I agree, ma'am. It's the same thing I stated. It's easy to act like you're happy with one another or you feel good about your life paths, your respective life paths, when you know that you have the power and you're the one who's going to stay and the other person is who's going to leave. But anyway, we'll see how things go for the Rockets this year with Dumb and Dumber, a.k.a. James Harden and Russell Westbrook. So peace.